On a bitterly cold night in Berlin, Ursula Kuczynski slipped through the nearly deserted streets, her small handbag pressed close to her side. Each footstep was measured, cautious, and when she passed the glow of a single lamplight, her shadow was unremarkable, just another pedestrian defeated by the winter wind. But hidden in her modest bag were secrets dangerous enough to topple nations. Her childhood was illuminated by books and sharpened by the lingering unease of being both Jewish and idealistic in Weimar Germany. Ursula grew up in a household where ideas mattered more than appearances, and conversations drifted at the dinner table from literature to the plight of workers and the sharp judgments of poverty. She listened, learned, and found herself pulled towards a vision of justice she saw as the only antidote to a broken world. Through invisible channels, Ursula was recruited for Soviet intelligence before she could fully appreciate the gravity of her choices. At first, she believed she fought for fairness, but as she moved across borders, from the swirling chaos of Shanghai to the hush of Swiss lakes, her motivations grew more tangled. When crossing into new countries, Ursula transformed herself with startling ease. A customs official would see nothing but a harried wife, a neighbor might recall a kind woman reading to her child in the park. One defining night arrived in rural England. Ursula sat at a pine kitchen table, the wood scarred by years of family life, the quiet pierced only by the persistent tap of rain. On the table lay a radio transmitter, compact but powerful. Taking care to keep her nerves still, Ursula pressed the keys in deliberate patterns, dots and dashes forming messages that would cross the English Channel like invisible phantoms. The intelligence she sent would flow into the Soviet arms race, echo into the atomic age, and yet she herself was rarely aware of the larger machinery into which she fed her reports. Her skills extended far beyond coded messages. Ursula wove relationships with scientists at elegant Oxford dinners and with activists at hurried coffeehouse meetings. She learned to listen in ways others could not, picking out nervous laughter, weighing half-finished sentences, hiding her own secrets beneath conversations about mundane village gossip. Whenever the risk of exposure snapped too close, she would don the simplest of disguises, normalcy. The world saw a mother with groceries, a friend trimming roses, a woman sighing at the falling rain, unaware that beneath the surface lay maps, ciphers, and world-shaking truths. As World War II ended and the paranoia of the Cold War dawned, Ursula sensed the tide turning. Several networks collapsed, friends disappeared or were arrested, and Ursula knew when to depart. She returned to East Germany, her former names and deeds tucked away behind the Iron Curtain. There, she wrote her memoirs not out of vanity, but to record the complicated choices that shaped her times. She asked for no medals, no public celebration. Her greatest pride was in disappearing from the stage as quietly as she had arrived. She understood long before her passing that history seldom remembers the shadowy figures in its margins. Ursula Kuczynski was not about the glory of espionage or the romance of rebellion. Her legacy lived in whispered conversations, in the current of information that shifted world affairs, and in the silent conviction that sometimes, the fate of nations is determined not by guns or banners, but by the quiet motion of one ordinary woman at the edge of the night.